This is the Black Shift Group podcast. Our mission is to create space to elevate, enrich, and expose individuals of color to ideals and concepts that they may not have been privy to. This is your girl, Young Ree.
And I'm your granddad, and that's All Relations. This podcast is just real conversations with real people.
We're going to be discussing lifestyle topics such as overall health and fitness, finances, culture, decode some media, and so much more.
After all, no one really knows what they're doing, so let's just wing it together.
All right, so let's get into it, y'all.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Black Shift Group. I'm Granddad. I'm doing good. How about you, Ree?
I am doing great. How y'all doing out there?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get my introduction in. You can call me Young Granddad Wackavelli, a.k.a. put the cheese on the fries. You feel me? But yeah, we want to go ahead and tell you what, since the first month of the year is over, how we've been doing with our New Year's goals. Okay. And I'm still in the gym. I'm still going strong. And I also been getting in touch with nature and trying to figure things out. And I just want to let y'all know that even though the year has started, you can always add more goals on. Just because the new year started, you don't have to say, well, dang, the new year is over. I can't really put no more goals in. No, do what you have to do to add on to make your life better, okay? But let's see what Ree done got into so far.
Okay, so I did have to go ahead and take a look in the mirror. I did go ahead and get my butt back in the gym.
Hey.
Thank you. Not on my own, of course. I do have to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. So I do want to shout out my workout partner, K-Bay.
Shout out to you.
Yes, she is definitely keeping me accountable and making sure I get my butt in there and, get those gains and be sore as I'll get out.
Them gains. Yeah, that's a good thing. It always, when someone else is there with you, it's both y'all getting the same goals accomplished. It's kind of like y'all pushing each other. So that's always a good thing to have someone, riding with you through those goals.
Absolutely. Well, y'all know we already coming with a topic. So today we actually want to get into her side, his side, and the truth.
Yep, because I feel like, and I'm pretty sure Young Ree feels the same way, people like to take their opinions and try to make them factual. And I just don't think that people really take the time out to think about what they're saying. It's just, well, this is how I feel and this is what it is. And it's indefinite, it's the definitive truth. And that's not always the case.
Right. I do agree with that. Sometimes I feel like we let our emotions dictate whether or not we're going to consider it fact or not, instead of doing our due diligence to do the research prior to get a full idea of the story, instead of just hearing one person's side or the other person's side. You actually really want to get down to the truth.
Exactly. It's like, I can say that I don't like your opinion, but
right.
I can respect how you got there. But I want to know, how did you get to this point,
right,
to where you feel like this is definitive and this is the truth, especially if it's just your opinion. Like, if you tell me, like, you can't sit here and argue that your opinion is facts just because you feel like your way is the way of life. Like, and that's with anything. I feel like a lot of people use that in religion. Mm-hmm. I feel like people from different backgrounds may use that to defend their beliefs of whatever, if they're from a certain community, they may feel like, their way is the way and any other way is against what they believe. And I believe that, it has to be facts before you try to shove it down someone else's throat.
Right. Like how we mentioned in last week's episode, why can't we be pro? How it's not that just because you look like me, I'm going to automatically agree with you, or because you don't, that I'm going to automatically disagree with you. Regardless, there is a right or wrong. And ultimately, there is a true or false, you know what I'm saying? So everybody is going to respond to all situations based on their paradigm, where they are along their journey, and the things that they've been exposed to. So that's really how you get your feelings, and that's how you get your opinions. But we like to chase fact. So I guess today we're just going to dive into some of our opinions on some things, and then maybe state some facts as well, and give you guys an idea as far as where, we've come from, so that is why we embrace those opinions.
Exactly. She said, we're going to give you our opinions, and notice she said opinions and the facts. We separating our opinions from what it really is.
Right.
And I feel like people don't like to really separate the facts from their opinions. Like, facts is definitive. It can be proven.
Right.
Your opinion is just something that you feel because of an emotion that you probably have to the circumstance. And one of the things that I want to talk about is, and this has been in the news, the Monique Netflix thing. And for those of you who probably didn't read much into it or care to read about it, pretty much what happened was Netflix offered her at the end $500K to do a stand-up special. Originally, Netflix came out and said that they offered her $3 million, and she felt like because other people didn't have to go through what she had to go through to get that $3 million, that she was too far above the $3 million.
Right.
And then Netflix said, you know what? Well, since you're trying to stun on us, we're gonna go ahead and give you that good old $500K. You know what I mean? And she kind of tried to make it seem like they were being racist, because that's not the fact. Because Dave Chappelle is a black man, Chris Rock is a black man. Netflix work with a lot of black people and pay black people, so it's not racism. And then she tried to use this sexism, and that's not the case, because I don't want to butcher the young white lady's name, but she got a big payout too. And the thing that she didn't realize is that those people have been putting that work in. They've been hitting the road. They've been selling out shows. The draw from them putting in that work is greater than what Nikki Parker.
Lord Jesus.
Hey, but that's the truth. Monique, I'm so sorry. If you ever hear this, I am so sorry. But the draw, it's all about the money that you're bringing in with anything. Like the NBA and the WNBA. People like to say it's sexist because the men get paid more, but you gotta understand, the men league draws in that money. The money it doesn't come from nowhere. The money doesn't come from nowhere. It's coming from revenue, plus minus.
Right.
Like, is it going to draw more in? And the thing is about this is when I went onto one of the comment sections of this topic, there were people in there yelling out, like, talking to men, saying that you wouldn't understand because you are a male. And me being a male, I kind of felt some type of way, like, yo, so we can't have an opinion that is could be basically true about a woman's situation without us not understanding. Like, I'm not too sure about that.
I kind of understand that. Me being a woman, me being in the workforce, we do tend to be less paid. I agree. Across all boards, you know what I'm saying? But I think with the Monique thing, I don't want to take a stance. I'm not going to take a stance because I'm always able to see both sides.
True.
So I can definitely see how she can, pull the help of feminists. I can definitely see how she can pull the help of the black community. I can see how you can use those to win your argument. But at the same time, if I switch my view and I now become Netflix and I think about my profit and loss and I think about, this business that I'm running and I got to make sure I flip a profit, I can see that side as well. So I don't want to go too heavy on it. But for example, when it initially came out, the first thing that came to mind to me was that, how can you now try to pull the help of the feminists or now try to pull the help of the black community where you won your Oscar by playing a role that was not necessarily in the best benefit or in the best image of the black community. But, that's on whether or not you're in the black community and you want to take that personally. You know what I'm saying? That may not be your personal story. I don't choose it to be mine, so it doesn't necessarily impact me. And then you also have to think that when you were doing your stand-up comedy and when you were extremely hot, on tours and everything, one of your main jokes were picking on skinny women. You know what I'm saying? So if I do want to take it personal, I can take it personal. So that's why we wanted to have the conversation, because it's always her side, his side, but regardless, there's going to be the truth.
Exactly. And I do agree with Ree. Women are in the workplace less paid.
Yeah.
But I don't think so in this situation because, like I said, the white young lady, she got a payout. But it's also a business thing. Like, I don't think Netflix is being racist at all because black people have gotten paid. Like, they have been paying people, but it's more so of an ego thing. Like, you may feel like everybody feels like they're worth billions of dollars.
Absolutely, I am.
Exactly, yeah, but your work may not be. And that's just the humbling fact of reality. Like, this is the facts.
Right.
Again, it's like Ree just said, her side, his side, and the facts.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is that she does not bring in that $20 million crowd. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. Build your brand back up. Then, you know, I'm pretty sure Netflix, if she did good on that first one, they was going to give her another shot, give her some more money.
Right.
But, you know, you can't always just scream out that your opinion of yourself. I mean, like I said, you always think of yourself in high regards, but sometimes for business, you may not be as high as you think you is. Like, you got to humble yourself. You got to humble down. You really do.
Okay, and with you saying that, it kind of makes me think of how everybody thinks that what they're doing is the best.
Yeah.
So, for instance, those of us that don't go to church, we feel like that's the best. Those of us that do go to church, they feel like that's the best. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what's your take on how this applies to, let's say, religion, or, you know, just an individual's belief system, and how they may feel like other people try to force it on them?
Yeah, I do agree with that. That is the truth. I feel like, and this is no disrespect to people who are heavily religious, I just feel like people who are in religions tend to try to force religion down their throat because that is their belief.
Right.
And again, that is opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can't prove any religious form as being a fact. We go by a Bible. You go by a Bible. You can't really prove that this is what it is, or, you know, or this is right and others are wrong. But I feel like people do that too much in church, and that's kind of being, I don't want to say a hypocrite, but it's kind of like it's being wrong, because some people do frown their nose up at you because you don't decide to conform to the opinion that they're pushing.
Right.
So in that regard, I have to say, like, that is one of the most opinionated fields is religion. It's like, my opinion is that this is the right way and no other way is wrong, is right. Everything else is wrong. And if you don't believe this, then I can't rock with you. That is the most opinionated field, period.
And I can agree with what you're saying, because ultimately we don't know the facts of that.
Exactly.
All we actually know is her side and his side. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a what do we call it? A rumor. Like, that's how I figured it.
You so harsh, Lord.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's the truth. Like,
right.
A long time ago, someone had the truth, probably, right?
Yeah.
And then, as years went on, somebody took from that and added in their part. That's like a rumor. Somebody, when you was in school, you probably told somebody this, and then by the time it got back to you,
you was like, I ain't say that.
Hey, what is this? Like,
right.
What the heck is this? So
right.
that's what I mean by a rumor. Like, not all parts of a rumor is fake.
Right.
But like I said, it's just that it was passed along so much that you don't even know if it's real or not yourself.
Correct. And that's why I say in that there are no facts, because I feel like when it comes to your belief system, you ultimately have to do what's best for you,
True.
you know? And just like I said earlier, you're only going to be able to maneuver within your paradigm. So you may be speaking to someone or trying to convert someone that does not exist in their paradigm. Exactly. So are you going to force them to see something that they've never seen before? Or are you going to allow that person to awake as they awaken, as divine would like it to be?
Yeah, I've had somebody in my life that I was really close to, and I'll never forget this conversation. Like, I was coming back from California to go to my granddad's funeral. Mm-hmm. And we were talking on the Greyhound. Like, I was on the phone with them, and they were like, hey, you want to go to church with me? And I told them, I was like, hey, I don't mind going to church with you to see, right. You know, how y'all do it. And this is me with anybody religion. I'll go to whatever. If you Hindu or whatever, I will go see how you guys do things, because mm-hmm. life is about gaining knowledge. So I told them, I said, hey, I would go to church with you, but if you're looking for me to have a different view than what I have now, it won't change anything. Like, because that's just what it is. Like, right now, in the point that I'm in life, I know it's more to life than just saying it's only one way.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than one way. So they went off on me. Who's to say that this is right and that is not? Definitive facts. Like, I don't believe nothing until I go research it myself and I see for myself. You telling me that this is what it is because this is what this book said. Like, how do I know that this book hasn't changed since the first time that it was released? Like, it's like New Testaments. They take books out, they add stuff in.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go like that. My brain just won't allow me to conform like that. Parts of it is true.
Right.
But at the same time, I need to figure it out how it applies to me in my life.
Yeah, I get that. I get exactly where you're coming from. And it seems like you call yourself a nomad. And now, you know, with you expressing yourself here, I can genuinely see how that's really you, you know? Because you want to get a feel of it. You can't just go off of, well, the book said it, you know, or well, he said it. You want to be like, well, let me see what I can go say after I've experienced it. So, you know, with you saying that, I actually want to ask you a question about a situation that took place with Genuine.
Yeah, I seen that, and it's very unfortunate. Like, I believe that you do what the heck you want to do. Like,
okay.
That's just, like, as far as like the trans community, like, do what you want to do. If you feel like a woman and you want to be a woman, go for it.
Right.
But do not push your beliefs onto other people. Like, you just can't do that. Like, that's that, and just because they don't want to accept it doesn't mean that they're a phobic or whatever, like, or just bash you. Like I said, I'm a firm believer, do whatever you want to do. But for the Genuine situation, he was bashed because he didn't want to kiss a trans woman, and the community was saying, well, if he was a woman, he would have kissed her or something like that. We don't know that. That's your opinion. Like, you don't have no definitive...
You're not Genuine.
Yeah, you have no definitive reason to say that that's what it is. You're just basically opinionated, saying that, oh, this is the reason why he didn't kiss the trans woman. Because what I want to say is, like, you have your reasons on why you don't want to date somebody or you don't want to interact with someone.
Touché.
Regardless, you can't sit here and say that you don't. If you are a trans woman, you probably may not like a black man. You probably won't say it. You just probably say, like, oh, I don't want to date him just because I don't like him. Like, oh, I just don't like him.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And if someone said you are racist because you just don't want to date a black person, you'll say, I just don't want to date him. Like,
right.
Exactly. Like, and that's the same situation. Like, you can't force somebody to do things like that. That's like, so we can't have different opinions from a trans person. Like, if a trans person come up to me and say, hey, I want to have sex with you, and I say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not into that. I'm transphobic because I said no to the situation. Like, I have to agree to do it.
I get exactly what you're saying. And I think that right now, since that's something that they're trying to really push, I want to make sure that I choose my words correctly on this one. That's why I'm not speaking too much. I do want to make sure I give that disclosure.
Yeah, because Ree, she go in.
I do. Because I do have the ability to see past, present, and future at the same time. So that is something, that's a narrative right now.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. And this is coming from someone that grew up, one of the people that were leading me throughout my life, they are a part of the lesbian community. I watched it not be acceptable and then all of a sudden become acceptable.
True.
And I've watched people shame a person, and then now turn around and shame you for not accepting the person.
How do you wait? How does that make you feel though? As far as like for that situation, you said that you watched it go from being not accepted to people accepting it and then bashing you for not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How does that like, because you have firsthand take on the situation. So.
Yeah, I definitely do. And I was a child, so I would get picked on because that relative was, living the life that they chose to live. You know what I'm saying? That was their lifestyle choice. That doesn't make them any less of a person. That doesn't make them any less worthy. But I was, picked on because I was associated with the person, because I knew the person. And then for it to take the shift of now being so acceptable, just so on the forefront, just so the narrative right now, it's a bit shocking because it's like, how do you grow past being able to accept people for who they decide to have in their life, but not being able to accept someone based on how they were born?
You should accept people for who they are. Yeah. But the thing is, you have to also accept that certain people don't believe in that.
Yeah, and back then, that was okay. You know what I'm saying? The community knew that. They knew that they weren't accepted. So they weren't walking around trying to force people to do it. But it's like, it has changed so much now. It seems like now that community is like forcing other people and trying to make other people see that this could be the better way, or this could be, do what you want to do. Yeah. It's a bit odd. I cannot front, because the racism against Black people have not changed. But the narrative, as far as the people that you decide to sleep with, has completely flipped. America used to be such a Christianity place, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, if it went against the Bible, it went against America's standards.
True.
And it's like, now, I mean, what's really up? You know what I'm saying? A person that's I'm born with brown skin, and you can accept me. But if I decide to one day say that, okay, I want a woman as a mate, y'all welcome me with open arms.
True. That's deep, because that is the truth. It's like, will you ride just as hard for a Black person that is going through a tough time in America versus someone saying that they just don't want to agree with, your decision to be trans? Like, I feel like we should go hard for both. If that's the case, like you can't just pick one and say, it's an opinionated thing. Like you, at the end of the day, you're still a human. And you still get to make your own choices. You're basically forcing it now. And
even to switch it up a little bit, because this is a bit uncomfortable for me. Yeah. I can't even sit up here in front this topic just because how I grew up and what I was able to witness, and then now here it is in my face. And it was a very uncomfortable time for me because it was someone that I truly love, and for y'all to even make it seem like I was going to be less of a person because of the choice that they decided to make. True. So I don't want to get too heavy on here. We're gonna have to have some live panel discussions for y'all to really get young Ree. But for instance, people that decide to wake up, the woke people, now they then turn around and say, you need to be like this. Put it down. Put the Bible down. Yeah. You need to be like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all the same because I feel like a lot of us move off of emotions, instead of us really looking at that person and seeing that, wow, they've only had a limited view. You know what I'm saying? They don't know all of the fact, So it's like, it's prevalent all over. So it's not that we're just trying to bash Monique. We're not just trying to, dwell on the genuine situation. And we're not just trying to down religion, but it's on all aspects. Everybody want to make sure, we should all make sure that we're researching things, what I'm saying? And that we're learning the past of things that are currently taking place in the present. And like even with the feminist movement, even that rubs me the wrong way sometimes. And I am a woman. But at the same time, it's like, am I black first or woman first? Because you guys will jump 10 toes, 10 fingers in for feminist movements, but at the same time, people that's standing next to you in the women's march, if it was another type of situation, they wouldn't care. Yeah. So that's why I'm a little more quiet on this episode, because some of these things really hit home for me because they have impacted my past and I'm now seeing them and how it's showing up in the present, and it's not appreciated. True. It's not, because it's not. It's just not.
All right, so pretty much from what I'm getting from you right now, it's like they're down for the feminist group, but if it was a black woman in a situation that revolved around race, they probably wouldn't.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Absolutely not. But you wouldn't. If you really sat there and you let it marinate, that you wouldn't.
True. That's real. That is very real. I definitely feel that. Like I can, and you could say for the people who listen, like that is an opinion, but deep down inside we know that is a fact because we see it a lot. Like you see how many white people or white women come to the defense of if a black woman was in a situation, the Sandra Bland situation. That's a woman.
There you go. You hit it on the head.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank
you.
That was a well-educated woman.
Exactly. And she got manhandled by that cop. And we didn't hardly see too many white, like, where was the feminist group, like, yo, dang, like, let's talk about that.
That's always fighting for educated women. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting chills right now talking about it. But yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like you said, it's based off their personal emotion or their personal feelings. Like, if it hits home for them, then that's when they want to talk about it. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly what's taking place. And we're all dictated by emotion, Like, I just admitted that, I'm feeling a bit emotional about the topic that we're talking about today. And it's like, even though I know the fact, but my emotions will sometimes overpower the fact that I know the truth. And it's that you can't convince anyone else to feel like how you feel. True. You guys just have to look at, the black and white, look at the facts that's on the sheet. And a lot of times people disregard that for their emotions only.
Exactly.
We live in a time where it's acceptable for you to say the news is fake. True. We live in a time for you to say that, oh, that's alternative facts.
True.
You have to understand the era that we're living in right now. Everybody is driven off of emotion. Someone got in office based strictly on the emotion that he was able to provoke.
Bingo. That's exactly what it is.
That's it. It's not based on facts. Nothing is based on facts anymore.
Because if it was based on facts, he wouldn't be president. His campaign was basically off of emotion. Like,
straight up.
Just basically anger. Like, anger. Pretty much. Yeah. Like, yo, like this, we want that. And again, feeling. Like, people can post the truth and they're like, oh, that's not true. That's not true anymore. So where do we get the truth from? The truth, you're basically trying to...
Alternative facts, there's no such thing.
You're trying to basically turn your feelings into the truth.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
in that regard, I feel exactly what Young Ree is saying. It's all really basically emotion, because when I went into the Nikki Parker, I'm not Nikki Parker.
Stop calling that lady Nikki.
Hey, that was a good. Hey, the Parkers was a dope
Professor
show.
Ogilvy.
Hey, the Parkers was a dope show. Like, I would have gave her $3 million off the show. Like,
do you hear me?
Like, straight up. But with that situation, the women in the comment section, like you're not looking at the facts. Like, they just said the facts was we gave her $3 million up front, and then she felt entitled, so we dropped it down to $500K.
But yeah, they did give the facts, but you gotta understand that people are just on social media. If they didn't make an Instagram post, if they just made like a newsletter and sent it out to all the major websites, no, they did not read the facts. Absolutely not. People don't read.
At all.
People don't read.
At all.
And I'm not even trying to be funny. I can make a post and they won't even read the caption. But if I can post a meme, they now can understand the concept.
That's true. I think people choose to read what they want to read, because I could post some funny stuff on Facebook. Oh, yeah, that's hilarious, right? But then I post something deep, I don't know nothing about none of that. But yeah, like she said, like, people don't want to read. Like, the facts was there. And by all means, like I said, I'm all for it. If a woman is being looked down upon because she's a woman, then by all means, call it out.
Yes, you stand by her and you call that out.
Most definitely. But you can't just always use that as your card. And I feel like that's why when racism happened, people don't take it as serious, because people are like, oh yeah, you're just using racism, the race card. Like, I've seen people literally say some race stuff and then like a white person say, you're just using the race card.
No, very true. Very true. Because it's like now everything is becoming a narrative. Yeah. Nothing is no longer considered truth. Nothing is, just blatant anymore. We don't want to be honest. We want to go on based on how we feel. If they don't make us feel good, it doesn't matter.
True.
So it's to the benefit for you to give the illusion that you're a feminist. It's to the benefit for you to give the illusion that you're standing up for the black community. It's to the benefit for you to do these things, because that can help you push your personal feelings, your personal narrative to get you where you want to go. But regardless, when the cards all fall, which side you gonna choose?
Again, when Charlamagne was talking about the Monique situation, like, I all I could do was just agree with what he was saying. Like, he came with facts. Like it wasn't no opinion. Like, he just came with the facts. Yeah. And
go look that up. We on YouTube.
Yeah. Go look that up. Go look that up. But he came with the facts, and then it's still people who probably was like on some you're just being sexist. Like, how? Like that's your opinion now. You basically using your opinion. He just gave you the fact. Netflix came out and told the full story. And you still want to say that they're being sexist.
But they weren't going to read the full story because it wasn't a meme.
Exactly. It didn't come in a form that you would have liked. If you have to read, it seemed like if you read, and I don't got no time for it. And that's crazy, because my granddad used to always say that. Like, you could put the key to life, the lottery ticket numbers in a book. Yeah. Nobody will read it. Nobody will become a millionaire. You can put the source of life in a book and nobody will read it, because it's not in a conventional form. It's not on TV. It's not. You got to stop false using these situations, so when the situation really happened, it takes from the actuality of something like that happened.
Yeah, because for instance, for Sandra Bland, as well as Corin Gaines, we should have been feminists, should have been rocking for them hard as hell.
Exactly.
I mean, we should have still been marching up and down the street.
Exactly. But where was the feminist group? And that's like I said, that's no disrespect. We're just being real. Like, if you're gonna hold women as a whole to a high standard, and which I believe women should, because women are, especially the black women, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are the smartest species on earth, and that's a fact.
Thank you.
That's a fact. Degree wise, they're getting it done, and they do get paid less, and they do more. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like, you don't want to march for a black woman who get discriminated on because she is black and she is a woman. You just want to do it because it's kind of mind-boggling. It gets me kind of in an area like, yo, like, seriously, like, so it only matters when you deem it as a matter situation.
And the same thing that took place, I don't know their name, but it was a situation where someone of color that was, I believe, trans, they were beaten to death or tortured to death in Orlando, I believe.
Wow. Exactly.
Where was the black community? Because we didn't show up for that. But the trans community showed up. So, in time for Black History Month, we need to open you guys' eyes a little bit more. So you need to know that when you pick and choose sides, make sure that you're choosing accordingly. Yeah. Not just based on how you feel or what's going to work for that moment in time. When you choose a side, you need to choose that side and stay on that side.
That's how I feel too. I feel like regardless, like I said, I'm a person who believes that however way you feel, or if you want to live your life a certain way, like, please do it. Like, you only got one life. Be the happiest you can be. But again, you can't just, and props to the trans community for going and supporting that situation.
Yeah, they ralied together for that situation, but we didn't show up.
Yeah, exactly. So
we left them. So what? Because he's doing. I get it. I understand that dynamic. I'm not going to go into it, but I understand why we wouldn't show up. Those of us that stand with the Black community. But that's still one of us.
A brother or sister. It's still one of us at the end of the day.
So I'm extremely passionate about this, Granddad, as you can see, because a little bit that I did talk on this episode, my passion did kind of show through. But, this was just a narrative that we wanted to go ahead and open up. I want to give thanks to Monique, if she ever has a chance to hear this, as well as Genuine. We were in no way trying to bash either one of y'all or make it seem like that the choices that you guys are making were not appropriate. We just used you all as an example, and that was it. But I'm forever grateful. I'm forever humble as far as how you guys impacted our culture. Yeah. And I'm just thankful for that.
Exactly. Opinions sometimes kind of shape how y'all are viewed, in each community, even the Black community. Like, sometimes there's some things that we do that I just be like, yo, we shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Like, we really shouldn't do that. And you doing that off of emotion alone.
Right.
So we can't really sit here and be like, you're transphobic or you're sexist because I feel like you should handle this situation the way I deemed you to handle this situation.
Correct. Because who are you?
Exactly. So that's exactly what we want to talk about. Again, we're not trying to bash anybody or, we're not trying to bring more negativity towards the Genuine situation or the Monique situation or religion or for anything, because we here at the Black Shift Group, we don't do none of that negativity stuff. We positive around here, but we do want to talk about things that do happen and affect us in this community or in this life, on this plane in this time of life.
Correct.
And those things do affect us.
They do. I want to, thank you guys for tuning in once again this week. This is the first episode for Black History Month. Continue to check us out for the remaining of the month, because we're definitely trying to broaden you guys' horizons. We want you guys to see past, present, and future at the same time, so that you can see where we come from as a Black community, where we are now, and where we should be going.
Yes. Black History Month. This is probably the best month.
Oh, Black Panther is coming out this month.
For sure, and I heard it sold out. Hey, if Black Panther trash, I need y'all still to act like it was lit. I don't care, man. If it's garbage, y'all need to show out.
And I know y'all ain't constantly heard it, but ain't no bootlegging, ain't no watching it on the Fire Stick.
Yo, I tried to go out for Christmas and buy my nephew the Black Panther action figure, but it was sold out. And I'm glad, and that's one thing that I was actually happy about being sold out. Like, okay, people buying it.
But of course, it's not going to be trash, because we're nothing but Black excellence.
Because I'm pretty sure, I bet you won't hear no Black person say it is trash.
Oh, absolutely not, because that's representation, and we've been waiting on that.
Exactly. So if you hear that it is trash, it's probably coming from a critic that,
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. So we're going to go ahead and shout out those social medias once again. Yeah. So we got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Granddad, you got anything else you want to add?
Man, it's February. It's Black History Month. Like, I want to challenge y'all to... I'm not going to challenge y'all to read. Go watch...
Oh, Lord Jesus!
Go watch a documentary. Like... Go look at a documentary on the Black Panthers. Go look at a documentary on Malcolm X. Shoot, you can even do one of the most iconic Black people person to white and Black people, Martin Luther King, if you want to go that route. Brad Hampton.
Go watch 13th Amendment on Netflix. Yeah. Anyone that hasn't seen Hidden Colors, go watch those. So I actually want to put you guys to a challenge. Once a week, take one day out of, 1 day a week, Google Black people that you've never heard of. Try to find something you can watch on their life, or just, indulge in our community this month. Fully indulge. And we also have some things coming up in March that we're going to get into later on this month and give you guys a heads up, because we would love to see you guys at those events as well.
Yeah, come out and dap us up.
Yeah. Take
a photo or two. Sure.
You know, you might get some free stuff.
Free stuff? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm into the free stuff.
Look. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. This is the Black Shift Group.
Peace out.